India is buying oil from Russia. Well, India has already purchased 13 million barrels of oil from Russia. It is certainly high compared to its earlier purchases. In the entire 2021, India has purchased only 16 million barrels. So, just after the Ukraine war has begun, India has purchased 13 million barrels. So, therefore, India's recent oil purchases from Russia is certainly far higher than earlier purchases. So, therefore, the United States and the Western allies caution India not to have greater energy imports from Russia, not to buy more and more Russian oil. Well, the European Union said that India cannot take an economic advantage from the Western sanctions on Russia. And United States has more specifically warned against not just buying oil from Russia, but even entering into any payment agreement other than the dollar-driven agreement, dollar-dominated agreement. So, India is planning for a rupee-ruble payment system arrangement. Well, this is not new. In fact, even during the Soviet era, India had this rupee-ruble arrangement. Even the S-400 anti-missile defense system is also under rupee-ruble payment system. So, the United States Deputy National Security Advisor Dalip Singh has categorically warned India of consequences if it continues to have energy, continues to buy Russian oil, and also continues to work towards a non-dollar payment system. Well, India is a sovereign nation. India has its own foreign policy, which is independent of United States. India is not a member of any American-led military alliance. Quad is not a military alliance. So, who is United States or who is European Union to tell us what to do? And this argument that India should not buy Russian oil is patently unjustified. Why? Firstly, India is dependent on imported hydrocarbons to the extent of 85%. So, India is one of the countries which is heavily import dependent. So, a country which depends on oil imports to the tune of 80 to 85% cannot afford any unprecedented surge in the global oil prices. Global oil prices have increased by around 50% since the war has begun. Neither United States has not succeeded in doing anything that would reduce the surging global oil prices. Well, I have read in news reports that the United States has urged its allies, Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates, to boost oil production to reduce the prices. But American allies have refused to do so because Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates want to benefit from the high oil prices created by Ukraine war. So, American allies are trying to exploit the situation created by Russian war in Ukraine. So, does India have a right to do something that the burden will come down? Burden on its economy and its people come down. So, what is wrong when India tries to reduce the deleterious impact of the war on Ukraine? We are not buying oil from Russia to strengthen Russian economy. We are not buying oil from Russia to undermine Ukrainian defense system. We are not buying oil from Russia to justify or legitimize the Russian invasion of Ukraine. So, India buying oil is not related to Russia. India buying oil from Russia is related to India's requirement, because compelled by the sanctions regime, Russia is offering oil at a very deep discount. So, when the global oil prices are surging like anything, and the oil major, the countries which produce oil and oil are not doing anything to reduce the prices, the United States as a global leader failed to make these countries do anything that would reduce the prices. What is wrong if India looks towards good deals? What our Foreign Minister Jaishankar said. So, this is the first thing. Second thing, India never depended, Russia is never a major energy supplier to India. India's energy supplies are mainly met by the Middle East countries, and United States account for around 8% of India's oil imports. Well, India imports oil from Iraq and Saudi Arabia, etc., etc. Russia accounts for only 1% of India's oil imports. Assuming that India increases its imports from Russia, still India will not be in the list of top 10 oil importing nations from Russia. Surprisingly, it is the Europe which imports more oil and gas from Russia. It is American allies which are desperately dependent on Russia for its energy imports. As I told you many a time, Russia accounts for 30% of Europe's oil imports and 40% of gas imports. Well, Russia and Germany has even built a pipeline called Nord Stream 2 pipeline bypassing Ukraine to Russia, so that there will be uninterrupted Russian gas exports to Germany and other European nations. So actually, who is dependent on Russia? It is not India. It is American allies, the Western nations. Even today, despite the Russian invasion of Ukraine, America said it will not import oil from Russia, but the Europe has not said. In fact, the Europe has only said that it will gradually reduce dependency on Russia. Then the third point is, did the West really do what it said? Even that it did not do. Interestingly, in March, according to the media reports which are quoted by India's Foreign Minister Jaishankar, in March, Europe purchased 15% more oil than what it purchased in February. So interestingly, post-war Russian invasion on Ukraine, after Russian war on Ukraine began, Europe started importing more oil from Russia. Surprisingly, America and West cautioned India not to buy oil from Russia. So this is absolutely Hippocratic response to India's decision to buy oil from Russia.